Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Avery Walks and Talks. Today, I'm going to be talking about some very interesting topics that I think the people need to be informed about. Okay, these are the topics that the people they don't know about. They don't know about these topics, and they need to know about these topics. Okay, if you don't know about these topics, you have to start knowing about them now. So, the first topic I think we need to talk about is the one time I saw a chicken. Okay. So when I was like 8 years old, actually I was probably like 10 or 11, my family, we raised chickens, right? And I don't see anybody talking about this, the fact that me and my family raised chickens, which, I guess a more niche topic really, but I personally think that I think all people should know about this, okay? So I was 8 years old, 11 years old, whatever it is, my family raising chickens. And I was thinking to oh, that's a very cute dog coming up along the way. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Let me ask this chicken a question. And so I look at this chicken. I'm 11 years old. I'm just fucking around. And so I look at this chicken and I say, hey, chicken, what's going on? Chicken's pecking the ground, doesn't respond. It's a chicken. All of a sudden, this chicken turns its head to me, looks me dead in the eyes. The chicken says to me, wake up. Please, Avery, wake up. And then the chicken just goes back to pecking. And now I'm 11 years old. I don't know what the hell I just saw. My family, they don't see it. They're just still playing around. No one heard it. I think I'm going crazy, but the family dog, Charlie, he's looking at this chicken really weird. Like really weird. He barks at it a couple times and I'm like, okay, clearly the chicken was possessed. It was a possessed chicken. And, the chicken was possessed by a demon. But I was the only one who noticed. And so that is why. That's an issue I don't think the people are talking about. The people are not talking about these issues. And I think that, the politicians need to bring it up. The politicians need to bring up this demon chicken that I saw when I was 8 or 11 years old. I don't remember which. Right? No one's talking about this. And so that's one issue. I think the politicians and the people and, the United States government that we need to focus on more. But I got other issues too that I don't see the people ever talking about. And that's kind of like a whole thing. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, what are some of the other issues? And I got some more issues. Okay. Have you ever noticed that, oranges? What the fuck are those? Okay. They're like these little blobs of color, and they got like skin, and if you peel back the skin, there's like sliced meat. Why is the meat pre-sliced? I don't understand this. Who is pre-slicing the oranges? Why is nobody talking about this? Whose job is it to pre-slice the oranges? Whose job is it to go in there and be like, okay, we got to make sure that there's a nice even amount of slices in this orange? Who's doing that? Why have I never met the guy? Why have I never met the guy who slices the oranges? Okay? And no one ever talks about him. Who is he? Nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows who's slicing the oranges. Because they come pre-sliced, okay? Am I crazy? Because okay, it's like you got the skin and you got like the meat on the inside, and I can accept that. I look at like an apple. It's like there's a thin skin, there's the apple meat. Or like a banana, it's got a very thick skin, but it's still just like a consistent meat tube of banana, But with oranges, it's pre-sliced. It's like if a cow, right? Like, a cow, you've seen cows. Like, imagine if there was just like a nice T-bone in there, right? A nice pre-cooked T-bone for you. That doesn't make any sense, right? And so it's the same thing with oranges. Who's the guy who is pre-slicing them? I just don't get it. And and this is another one of the issues I don't think the politicians are talking about. I don't think the people are talking about. And I really do think, hey, we gotta be talking about these issues. We gotta be making people aware that there's a guy out there pre-slicing our oranges and nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows. Literally nobody knows who is cutting the oranges, okay? And so it's just concerning to me personally. It's just a little odd. It's just a little like something like, hey, why does nobody talk about this? Nobody ever thinks about this. And so that's another thing that I think the people need to talk about more. And then I'm not even done. I still got more issues. We've covered that chicken I saw when I was young, and we got oranges. No one talking about either of these, but I got more. I got more issues that the people aren't, they're not talking about. They're not talking about these issues, okay? So here's my other issue that I'm having right now, and that is just the simple. Oh, these guys are letting me pass. Let me run. Look at me. I'm going fast. Okay, so here's another issue that I have, and that's boulders, okay? Because I personally think, like, people are way too lenient on boulders. Okay, some like boulders, that's like a whole thing. To me, like a boulder, you gotta be like, like a big ass rock or something. You gotta be like gotta be a big rock. There's these guys out here, they see a pebble, and they call it a boulder. That's not a boulder. That's not a boulder, that's a rock. Okay? We gotta put respect on boulders. We gotta put respect on boulders, and we need to legally define what a boulder is, because too many people, they just misuse the word boulder, and I don't like it. I don't think that's a good sign for the American people, that we are willing to just call any rock a boulder. Because I know, and I think that the American people know. Oh, there's some water here. I got splashed a little bit. But yeah, I think the American people know, like, what a boulder is, but they're being poisoned by these, politicians who tell them, hey, a boulder, that's just anything. Look at that. Is this a boulder? Is this a boulder right here? So some people, that's a fucking boulder. People, that's a boulder. And I don't agree. That's not a boulder to me. That's a rock. Boulder's got to be at least like the big rock. It's got to be at least like 2 feet, I want to say, in diameter. It's got to be ball-shaped, because the thing about a boulder is that it's got to be able to roll so it can crush somebody. That's a big part of boulders to me. That's a big part of boulders to me personally, that they could roll and kill somebody. And so it really makes me mad when I'm seeing a rock. It can't even fucking roll. It can't go anywhere. I'm seeing these rocks, and people call them boulders. That could never kill a man. That could never kill anybody on its own. If I put that in the Indiana Jones temple and it started rolling at Indiana Jones, what is he going to do? He's going to laugh. He's going to say, oh, I thought I was dealing with some big, beautiful boulders. I thought I was going to see some cool shit today. But no, this is just a rock. And so that's another thing. That's another issue the people are just not talking about, It's something I really want to get more opinions on. But I just don't see anybody talking about it. And it's really making me sad, because I personally have a lot of love and a lot of respect for boulders. I think a lot of people, they like boulders. They're cool, they're cool. It's a boulder. It's a big rock that kills people. It's one of the coolest things, really. But people just don't put enough respect on boulders. And that's like the third issue that I think the politicians and the people, they're not talking enough about. They don't talk about the demon chicken. They don't talk about, what's the other issue I had? I don't even remember. Oranges. They don't talk about boulders. And I think, excuse me, sir, what would you define as a boulder? What is a boulder to you? Like, that's a big rock, right? Thank you. Because people, they think, like, see that rock right there? People would say that's a boulder. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It should be able to roll over a guy. All right, thank you, sir. You have a good one. See, the people, they know what a boulder is, but the politicians are lying to you about boulders. Okay? It's not fair. And I think it needs to change. I think it needs to change. And I'm trying to put that knowledge out there. So I'm really hoping that the people wake up. What's another issue I have? Because I got a lot of issues, really, I like talking about. Because there's so many issues that the American people, they're not focusing on. And I think we got to change that. I think we got to make the people more, aware of their surroundings, aware of what a boulder is, aware of the guy who's slicing the oranges. And nobody's doing that, and it's just sad. It's like, I got more issues I could talk about. Like, what's another issue? I got so many, it's just like I don't even know how to keep track of them at this point. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't like the Martians, People call me racist. I don't give a shit. I don't want them coming to Earth. They piss me off. They got their weird language I don't understand. The fucking Martians, I just don't want them here. I think we need to send them back to Mars. Like, I don't got any issue with any human, I personally think they're all, I don't understand human on human bigotry. It doesn't make sense to me. But that being said, the Martians, I think that's where I draw the line. That's where I think I'm starting to get a little irritated, a little pissed. I'm starting to think the American people, they're becoming too accepting. And I try to be, I really do. I try to be, a little open-minded. But with Martians, I just don't see it. I just don't see the appeal. I don't see why we need to be welcoming these people to our planet, to our, world. We got enough issues here. Like, they got laws about Martians and shit. I don't get it. It's like we have a whole process now for Martians to come to Earth. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I think we got to change it. The American people, they're not talking about the Martians who are coming here, and the politicians, they're using the Martians for easy labor, and that ain't right either. I don't want the Martians here on Earth, but I don't want them being exploited for labor either. I don't think that's right. And I really do think that, realistically speaking, I just think each planet, maybe visitation. I'm fine with Martian tourists, right? I want to tour Mars one day too. So to me, it's not that big of an issue. Like, if they're touring, that's fine. We have a beautiful planet. They have a cool planet too. I want to visit. Maybe hang out for a day. But I don't see why they got to live here. They got to wear these oxygen, like these special Mars helmets anyway, so they can breathe their Mars air. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. So I'm trying to make just seems like a whole thing. You got to come to a planet that's not even yours. You got to breathe your Mars air. You got to buy Mars air. It's just so much work. And what about the poor Martians too? Like, they got a capitalist society over there. It's not all shits and rainbows and everything. Like, the only Martians who are coming here are the really privileged Martians. If anything, I wish the poor Martians could come here, because I've heard poor Martians, they have it pretty bad on Mars. It's like worse than what we have here. They're in like, I don't even know what level of capitalism they're on over in Mars. Have you seen it? I mean, have you read the news reports? It's bad. It's not good. There's like a lot of shit going over in Mars. Wars every day, and it's just the poor people in Mars, the poor Martians, getting blown up all the time. If anything, I think we should, oh, the guys let me pass. If anything, I think we should just bring them here. I guess that's where, I guess I need to reevaluate my position. Because I really don't have an issue with Martians living here, I suppose. It's just that, like, these rich Martians are taking advantage of the immigration system. And they're coming here, and they're tampering with our politics. And I don't understand it. And, I just don't want rich Martians, messing with stuff. It's not fair. It's not right. I don't think that that's what should be going on. The Martians, they shouldn't be here. They don't have any claim to our Earth. And so send them home. Send them home, really. That's how I feel about the Martians. I just think we got to get rid of them. And what? Like I said, this is one that at least the politicians are talking about it, but they just like it. They just like it because the rich Martians, they help the politicians out. And it just pisses me off. And I just think we got to change the system so they can't take advantage, of the Earth anymore. I don't know. Yeah, I just think, we got to, maybe the poor Martians, like almost like I don't know what you call it. What is it called? Like an asylum, maybe they can get some help here, because I really do feel bad for the poor Martians. But I'd be lying if I said I think these rich, bourgeoisie Martians, I'd be lying if I said I think they have any place on Earth, and I hope they all go back to Mars. That's another issue I've been having. All the Martians coming here, they're messing with our industries. I don't like it. What else? What else is a problem I've been having? I don't know. I think those are most of my problems. That the people, that they got to wake up on. They really do need to wake up, start thinking about these issues more, start trying to figure it out. Because as it stands right now, there's just a whole bunch of issues that no one's talking about. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. I just hope that you're more aware of these things, so you can make more informed decisions of who to vote for, and who to, what to think. I'm not trying to tell you. I guess with the Martians, I do have, some pretty strong opinions. But with the other ones, I really do hope you can just take this information that I've, given to you and come to your own conclusions. Because that's really what politics to me is all about. Different people who think differently, trying to come together to make their country a better place. I think sometimes a lot of times actually, people use politics for their own personal gain. But I really do think, if you genuinely think you're doing good, at the very least you're doing, you're standing on your business, you're standing on your morals. And, you know, I can respect that to a certain extent. So I'm not trying to tell you how to feel about the oranges guy or the demon chicken or any of that or boulders. Well, I do actually, you know, I do have specific rules about boulders. But I think everybody agrees on that. It's just something that we need to talk about more. So you can come to your own conclusions. I hope this video helped, you know, keep you informed on the modern issues. You know, thank you for your time and thank you for listening. Thank you.